The roller coaster relationship between Gino Palazzolo and Jasmine Pineda has once again reached a boiling point, and this time the stakes are higher than ever. What started as a passionate long-distance love story has now exploded into a shocking scandal involving accusations of marriage fraud and a staggering $70,000 demand. Gino is no stranger to keeping track of his financial support for Jasmine, and now he has made it public. From the very beginning of their relationship, viewers saw Gino sending money to Panama to help Jasmine with her living expenses. But what many didn't realize was just how much he was sending over the years. Gino revealed detailed receipts showing thousands of dollars in transfers, cosmetic procedures he paid for, and luxury items Jasmine enjoyed. These included plastic surgeries, hair extensions, expensive clothes, and even apartment rent. According to him, the total amount he spent on Jasmine easily surpasses $70,000. While Gino believed his financial support was part of building a future together, he now claims Jasmine's actions prove otherwise. He has accused her of using him strictly for money and immigration benefits, pointing to messages and behaviors that suggest Jasmine never fully intended to commit to their marriage. Reports claim that Gino recently uncovered private conversations where Jasmine allegedly discussed backup plans with other men. To Gino, this was the final straw. Not only did he feel emotionally betrayed, but he also realized just how much of his savings had disappeared into what he now calls a fraudulent relationship. Marriage fraud is not a light accusation. If Gino's claims are accurate, Jasmine could face serious legal consequences. Under U.S. immigration law, entering a marriage for the sole purpose of obtaining residency is a crime. While it is unclear if Gino intends to take these allegations to authorities, his public exposure of Jasmine has already sent shockwaves through the 90-Day Fiancé fan community. Some fans believe Gino might be setting the stage for legal action, while others think this is more about revenge and public embarrassment after years of humiliation on screen. Either way, the allegations have painted Jasmine in a very different light. Throughout the show, Jasmine often demanded the best from Gino. From cosmetic procedures to apartment upgrades, she was clear about wanting luxury. At the time, many viewers criticized her for being materialistic, while others said Gino spoiled her too much. Now, with the release of these receipts, the debate has reignited. Gino insists he did everything out of love and in hopes of keeping Jasmine happy. But he now says Jasmine took advantage of his generosity and never truly appreciated the sacrifices he made. The fanbase of 90-Day Fiancé has exploded with commentary since these revelations. On one side, many fans feel sympathy for Gino, arguing that he is finally standing up for himself after years of emotional manipulation. They see Jasmine as a master manipulator who skillfully played the victim while draining Gino financially. Others, however, are quick to point out that Gino enabled this behavior from the start. They argue that he knew Jasmine's expectations, yet he continued to send money and gifts despite their frequent fights and red flags. Some fans even suggest that Gino enjoyed the attention and validation that came with being Jasmine's provider. One of the biggest questions now is whether Jasmine is actually obligated to repay Gino. In most relationships, gifts and support are not considered debts, unless there was a clear agreement in writing. Legally speaking, Gino may have a hard time recovering the money. However, in the court of public opinion, many believe Jasmine should return at least part of the amount if she truly intends to prove her love was genuine. With tensions at an all-time high, it's uncertain what the future holds for Gino and Jasmine. While some couples on 90-Day Fiancé have weathered scandals and reconciled, this one feels different. The involvement of financial betrayal and fraud allegations makes it far more complicated. Insiders say Gino has been distancing himself from Jasmine in recent weeks, focusing more on protecting his finances and reputation. Meanwhile, Jasmine has remained relatively quiet, which is unusual for her outspoken personality. Fans are waiting to see if she will release her own set of receipts or a public statement defending herself. So far, TLC and the producers of 90-Day Fiancé have not commented on the matter. However, scandals like this often become central storylines in upcoming spin-offs or tell-all specials. If Gino and Jasmine return for another season, this controversy could dominate their narrative. But there is also a risk. If the allegations of marriage fraud gain traction, TLC may face criticism for continuing to feature Jasmine on the show. Past controversies have forced the network to distance itself from certain cast members, and fans are curious to see how TLC will handle this situation. A scandal that could change everything. At its core, this scandal is about more than money. It's about trust, betrayal, and the dark side of love in the spotlight. Gino's decision to expose Jasmine so publicly marks a turning point in their relationship and possibly their entire journey on reality TV. Whether Jasmine fights back with her own evidence, or whether this truly is the end of their relationship, one thing is clear. This $70,000 scandal has shaken the 90-Day Fiancé universe to its core. Gino Palazzolo is in revenge mode on HEA Season 9. He wants to make Jasmine regret every single thing she did to him. The 90-Day Fiancé celeb sent a threatening message to his ex on the show and asked her to pay all the money he spent on her. Gino calculated the money he spent on Jasmine's immigration process, her expenses in Panama, and their wedding. Hence, he claimed spending over $70,000 on the latter. The reality TV star now wants everything back he spent on his wife. Gino has been heartbroken to see Jasmine move on from him so easily and start a family with Matt. He felt betrayed by his wife and called her a fraud and a scammer. What will Jasmine do? What did Gino say to her? 90-Day Fiancé star Gino Palazzolo was madly in love with Jasmine during the debut. But the former wasn't happy with his wife's constant yelling and screaming. He refused to have sex with her because of her toxic personality and discussed his trust issues. Jasmine begged Gino to sleep with her and discuss their intimacy issues on the last resort. She is finally done with Gino, and the latter struggles to believe everything. He decided to take his revenge on his ex on the show. The TLC star sat in a restaurant with the bills to calculate everything. Palazzolo stated, "Jasmine ripped my heart into this many pieces." He realized spending almost $75,952 on her green card, her rent in Panama, and their wedding. The American native made it clear he would make his ex pay for everything for using him. Gino Palazzolo is ready for the final showdown with Jasmine Pineda. He doesn't want to let her get away so easily after using him. The reality TV star called his ex on Season 9 to threaten her with a scathing message. In the teaser, Jasmine sat in bed listening to her ex's rant while Matt stood outside the door. Gino said, "I really thought you loved me when I spent almost 3 months in Panama. We have such a strong bond, and you always told me how much you love me." He revealed that things changed quickly when his ex arrived in Michigan. The American native claimed that his ex treated him horribly, explaining that she never really wanted to be with him. Gino found the timing of Jasmine's green card and her sleeping at Matt's house very significant. However, he felt his wife never truly loved him. He came to the conclusion that the latter used him for the green card. The 90-Day Fiancé star thinks this is the biggest mistake of his life. Gino yelled, "You stabbed me in the back and broke my heart." He claimed to have spent a lot in his relationship and told her she owes him $40,000 for the money he transferred her to Panama for 3 years. Jasmine also owes $10,000 for the wedding and $1,225 for a green card. He also demanded $500 for a divorce lawyer because he had to file the papers. As per Entertainment Tonight, Jasmine clearly refused all the claims and made it clear she never did anything criminal. What's your take on this? Do let us know in the comments below. Rumors about 90-Day Fiancé's Jasmine Pineda's pregnancy timeline are running rampant, but I'm not sure if I believe the Panamanian star cheated on her husband. 90-Day Fiancé franchise couple Jasmine and Gino Palazzolo have been officially married for about a year. Their journey started on the 90-Day Fiancé, before the 90 Days spin-off, where I originally sided with the Panamanian star. I thought Gino revealing her nude pictures to an ex-girlfriend was highly inappropriate, and he pushed them to have kids way too quickly. But then I slowly switched sides and favored more of Gino's story as Jasmine proved to continuously verbally abuse him. As a result, their appearance on 90 Day, The Last Resort was no surprise. Their relationship was slowly deteriorating, and the newest spin-off was just the place for them to work on their marriage. However, instead of fixing their issues within their dynamic, they decided to open up their marriage. Now, Jasmine's pregnant and Gino's not the father, but the bigger question is concerning when Jasmine first conceived. On the tell-all, she refused to share how far along she was, which was a little suspicious and certainly adds to the argument that Jasmine may have cheated on Gino. However, I'm not convinced. solely by the pregnancy, that Jasmine cheated on Gino. The easiest and quickest way to stifle most of these rumors would be to know how far along Jasmine is. Unfortunately, though, she's been tight-lipped about her pregnancy. At the tell-all, she claimed that it's a family tradition to remain quiet about specific details, but at first, I thought it may have been a cover-up for her potentially cheating. However, upon a closer look at the filming schedule for The Last Resort Season 2, I don't think that's the case. First, Rob Warren, Josh Weinstein, and all the rumors suggested that Jasmine was already hooking up with Matt and was possibly already pregnant during The Last Resort. In this case, the purpose of the open marriage would be to cover up her infidelity. However, based on the filming timeline, the dates don't make sense. If The Last Resort was filmed around April 2024, Jasmine would have been due near the end of 2024 or early 2025, assuming she was in the very early stages of her pregnancy. However, she was pregnant at the tell-all, which was filmed in January 2025, and she's still pregnant in early April 2025. Currently, she's more than likely to be 7 to 9 months pregnant, which would put conception around mid to late summer of last year. Putting aside the more obvious gaps in the timeline, a few other hints suggest Jasmine wasn't pregnant at The Last Resort. For instance, Jasmine had champagne at The Last Resort. If she was aware enough of her pregnancy to try and manipulate Gino into an open marriage, then I doubt she would have drunk alcohol. Additionally, revisiting the tell-all, there's another crucial point to consider. Jasmine is rumored to live in Florida with Matt. Otherwise, she might still be in Michigan with Gino. Either way, the tell-all is filmed in New York City, meaning she most likely flew via airplane for the taping when most airlines won't let women who are 36 weeks pregnant fly. I'm finding it hard to believe that the open relationship was a major cover-up. While Jasmine got pregnant really quickly, I'm not convinced she cheated on Gino. I agree that the connection between Jasmine and Matt was likely inappropriate. When Jasmine called Matt about the open relationship in The Last Resort, it seemed like something they had discussed previously. If Jasmine and Matt talked about an open relationship before she suggested it to Gino, I understand why he might feel betrayed. I also think it's entirely possible that Jasmine lacked an emotional connection with Gino and started developing one with Matt, which is why she pushed for an open relationship. Overall, I believe Jasmine may have blurred the lines on an emotional level, but I don't believe she physically cheated on Gino. If Jasmine had fully moved on, I don't think she would have pushed Gino to open up or participate in the therapies at The Last Resort. I also don't think she would have continued to initiate physical intimacy and communicate with Gino. On top of that, she shared details on camera and with the other stars about Matt. While I see how her actions contributed to the rumors, I do believe she wouldn't have been so open about the situation if she was actually cheating. In the end, this isn't the first time she's been accused of cheating, and I wish we knew more about what goes on behind closed doors. 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Couple Jasmine Pineda and Gino Palazzolo are once again considering divorce, but the Americans' sudden rush to end their marriage has everyone wondering why the quick change of heart. Jasmine and Gino have been in the 90-Day Fiancé franchise for nearly half a decade and have contemplated breaking up almost every appearance for one reason or another. They were last seen on 90-Day, The Last Resort, agreeing to an open marriage in an effort to repair their connection. Now on 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Jasmine is living apart from Gino, and he seems more prepared than ever to file for divorce. However, the bigger question that viewers and even Jasmine have is why. Jasmine thought he might be ready to date other women while he claimed his marriage had changed more than he anticipated it to. Either way, though, Gino seems to have several potential reasons for wanting this divorce, it seems. The biggest issue Gino has comes from his belief that Jasmine tricked him into an open marriage. In Happily Ever After? Season 9, Episode 3, Gino asked Jasmine to meet him so they could talk. While Jasmine thought it was a possibility she'd move back in, Gino showed up with his car packed full of her stuff and accused her of cheating with Matt Branasterian months before he agreed to the open marriage. Jasmine denied the allegations and stuck to her story that they were friends all along. Gino, however, seemed unwilling to believe her and wanted to keep her at a distance. He claimed he sifted through her phone records, and nothing would be able to convince him that she wasn't cheating on him with Matt before he agreed to open their marriage. In his confessional, he revealed, "I had a whole life planned out with Jasmine," he said. And for things to end this way, I feel like it was a whole waste of time, and it just makes me sick. He asked for a divorce, and while at the time he hadn't followed up with Jasmine, in his confessional, he also claimed he would prefer to wait for a recession when the market completely drops, he explained, because I don't want to share money with Jasmine for free. While Gino might be telling the truth about how he believed he was tricked into an open marriage, there seemed to be potentially another reason for Gino wanting a divorce: Natalie. In 90 Day, the last resort, Gino and Jasmine agreed to an open marriage, but only the Panamanian star had a partner in place, Matt. Gino was allowed to hook up with other women, but it seems like his journey on Happily Ever After is his first time exploring his side of the bargain. With Jasmine out of the house, Gino has been exploring his options with other women and connected with Natalie. He flew to Vegas to meet the Jasmine look-alike, and they got along well. However, after meeting each other in person, Gino realized he needed to come clean about his open marriage. Unfortunately, Natalie wasn't happy that Gino lied, and she made it clear she didn't want to get in the middle of things. Therefore, she declared Gino needed to tell Jasmine he'd moved on and wanted to officially get divorced. As he stated in his confessional, Gino was in an awkward situation. He wasn't sure if he was ready to end things with Jasmine officially, but the pressure from Natalie was tough to ignore. Overall, Gino's been withholding from Jasmine since almost as soon as they got married. Once Jasmine claimed she wasn't ready to have a child and wanted to slow down that part of their relationship, their dynamic seemed to change. Now, with everything that has happened since then, Gino seems to have built up a lot of resentment over the last few years. It's bewildering how quickly he was ready to take the relationship to the next level with Natalie, but he spent over a year stringing Jasmine along and making her jump through hoops for intimacy. It's no wonder they are headed for divorce, but hopefully both of them will find exactly what they need and are looking for throughout the rest of their 90-day fiancé journey. Gino thinks Jasmine tricked him into an open marriage, but he isn't ready to get divorced just yet. On the July 27th episode of 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, both Gino and Jasmine were left reeling from their explosive confrontation in a local parking lot, during which Gino accused Jasmine of cheating on him with Matt prior to the open marriage and asked for a divorce. During the confrontation, Gino told Jasmine he had phone records that he believed were proof of her infidelity, which she adamantly denied. After leaving Jasmine alone in the parking lot, Gino felt that he got a chance to get pretty much everything he wanted off his chest. Later, in a confessional, he suggested Jasmine had tricked him into the open marriage. She had Matt selected, and she proposed an open marriage to cover her, so her and Matt no longer had to hide their relationship, he claimed. Who does that? But Jasmine insisted that she never cheated on Gino, and that the evidence he had did not prove she had done so. What hurts me the most is the fact that he wants to divorce me for something that is not true, she said in a confessional. She admitted that she called Matt, but claimed Gino knew of their friendship. I have an explanation for those calls, Jasmine continued. If he wants to divorce me and hate me, he could hate me for any other thing except from that. And that's why I'm so hurt, because it's like someone receiving a life sentence for a crime that they never did. That's how it feels. Eventually, Matt arrived at the parking lot to pick up Jasmine and the assortment of her belongings that Gino gave her after the confrontation. During the ride back to his house, Jasmine told him the meeting did not go well. I was expecting Gino to be Gino, which is talk to her like treat her like a... Part of me wanted it to happen like this, though, he confessed. Maybe if she completely sees how this guy is, she'll actually see what's worth her time and see that I'm the one that's picking up the pieces. I'm the one that's always supporting her.